Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? And welcome to another edition of the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. My name is TJ Jones. Thanks for checking out the podcast once again. The New Orleans Saints have another big task coming up on Turkey Day. That's right, Thanksgiving, week 12, the New Orleans Saints will battle those dirty rivals known as the Atlanta Falcons. I will not address them as their nickname because this season they're not even worth it. The New Orleans Saints have a home game, and this is very unconventional. I think this is maybe the second time that the New Orleans Saints played on Thanksgiving. The first time was a couple years ago when they had that epic classic versus the Dallas Cowboys. And I don't know if y'all remember, but there was a pass by Tony Romo to Roy Williams, a quick slant, and Malcolm Jenkins, of all people, the same Malcolm Jenkins that got burnt by Alvin Kamara this past week with the Eagles, he actually stripped the ball from Roy Williams, and the Saints marched it downfield. A quick pass to Lance Moore for a touchdown, and the Saints won the game against the Dallas Cowboys. That was a classic. This is the second time that the New Orleans Saints are going to be playing on Thanksgiving, and I feel like it is suffice that they play the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know a lot of people out there, we're excited, we're happy, but I got to say this. I feel like it's totally unfair that the New Orleans Saints have a Thursday game and they played a game in the late afternoons on Sunday. I feel like that is totally unfair. I feel like they should have had a 12 o'clock game or 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game if they were going to be playing on Thursday. That would have gave the team enough time to rest a little bit. I've been hearing reports about several Saints players that are very, very beneficial to the team, may not even play. Andres Peters, questionable. You got Traquan Smith, who had a big game against the Eagles. He's questionable. I mean, I heard some good news. Marcus Davenport practiced for the first time in a couple weeks with the team. But still, man, this is enough time for a team to go out there and be able to put their best foot forward. I'm just hoping that the New Orleans Saints get out this game virtually unscathed with no serious injuries to any top players or any players at all. I don't want to see any injuries. But anyway, the New Orleans Saints take on the Atlanta Falcons. So the question is, who is going to win this game? Now, I know we think because the Saints dropped about 50 on the Bengals, then they turned around and dropped 48 on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now we think that the New Orleans Saints are just going to beat the brakes off the Atlanta Falcons. I don't see that happening. I really don't. I don't see that the Saints are going to just completely annihilate the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know. I know we would love to see that as Saints fans, but I don't see that happening. See, when you're dealing with rival games, division games, you got to throw the records out of the window. These are people that are very familiar with one another. The Saints are very familiar with the Falcons and vice versa, and so many other teams in the NFC South like the Buccaneers and the Panthers. I mean, you got to throw records out the window when you're playing a division game. I think that this game is going to be relatively close. I don't think that the Saints are going to just beat the brakes off of them, but I do think they're going to win by a couple touchdowns. I got the score 38-21. I think that the New Orleans Saints will get the job done. That's not a doubt in my mind, but I am afraid about these injuries, man, playing on a Thursday night. I just can remember the last Thursday night game the Saints had when it seemed like it was a mass unit on the sideline. I think Kenny Vaccaro went into the tent, and then after him, David Onyemata went into the tent. It's like they were lining up, to go into the tent, man. And that's not a good look, especially how red hot the Saints are. I want all of their players at top form because the Saints got some big games coming up. I mean, you still have the Carolina Panthers twice, and you still got to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. These are some big games, and you have to continue to keep that momentum. I mean, the Rams still only had one loss. So even though the Saints have a tiebreaker, you got to continue to put your foot on the gas because one slip up could possibly mean you get the 2 seed or even a 3 seed. So the Saints got to continue to win. And we got to be realistic about this. Of course, we're happy. The team is 9-1, clicking on all cylinders. A lot of arguments are being made about Drew Brees getting MVP. The team is getting national attention, well deserved. but we still want the same momentum. I'm not satisfied with that. I want the team to go all the way. Look, it's good to be able to talk to some of my friends that are fans of rival teams, but I want the Saints to go all the way. I want them to go all the way. Look, good records, that's cool, but good records are not going to be remembered if you don't win a big one. And the Saints need all of their players to be relatively healthy if they are going to make a run at this. But it is going to be a good Thanksgiving game. It's on primetime television. Man, the Saints have had a lot of primetime games this season. I mean, for the next couple of weeks, the Saints have all primetime games. It's amazing. I mean, they got the Thanksgiving game against the Falcons. They got that in primetime. That's going to be the late game. Then you have the Carolina Panthers. They playing them on Monday Night Football. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They playing them at 4:25 Eastern Standard Time. I mean, they got some primetime games, man. The Saints, honestly, they are primetime television, man. Every time they come on TV, they're must see. So hopefully they can keep this momentum going against a real Atlanta Falcons team. Look, I'm not going to just dismiss the Falcons, man. I mean, I know they have a lot of injuries. According to sources, Debo Jones is not going to be playing in this game. Might be good for the Saints because I'm going to be honest with you. Deion Jones is the only Falcon player that scares me, man. I mean, this guy always makes a play against Drew Brees. He always get a pick six or an interception in the late minutes. This guy is a baller, and I can't believe that the Saints didn't pick that guy up. I mean, he was right down the street of LSU. Every time he plays them, man, I'll be like, man, I know Deion Jones going to do something, but he's not going to play. The Atlanta Falcons have a lot of injuries once again, but they're going to go out there, man, because they got pride. I mean, these teams out here, despite their records, you know they want to beat one another. The Saints want to beat them even though they're 9-1. They want to be able to have that bragging rights to get the clean sweep of the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons want to try to break the Saints' 9-game winning streak. I mean, it is what it is. So, it's going to be a tough game. Matt Ryan, he's been playing pretty good. Julio Jones has finally gotten the end zone. And since he's gotten the end zone, he has scored every week since then. For the last 3 weeks, he's scored at least one touchdown. Calvin Ridley, we know what he can do. I mean, they got some good players out there, man. And we got to respect that as Saints fans. But I still don't think that the Falcons are going to beat the Saints. Once again, my score is 38-21. So that's my score. That's how I think the game is going to go. And before I go, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to you and to your family. May you be safe. If you're traveling the highway and byways, be careful out there. And also check out the State of the Saints podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search State of the Saints podcast. And also follow the State of the Saints podcast on Twitter at SOTS Podcast 8. That's SOTS Podcast 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?